Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a fun video that I decided to make for you guys that has to do with all the historical fiction I have read since being on Booktube. So we're talking like 3+ years. I started January of 2020. So it's been a while and I have read so many historical fiction books and I have seen tier ranking floating around for a long time. I'm kind of slow to jump on the bandwagon, to be honest, but I always thought it looked really fun and I just wanted to set it up for myself. And so I got it all ready and I have all my books loaded. There's 62 books. And so we're just gonna go through them. So let me just show you the tier ranking screen that I'm working with here because I have my computer right here so I can do it while I'm chatting with you. And so down here is where I have all of my books to go through all the historical fiction. This is going to be so much fun. And then I have my categories. So I have 5 categories. I thought I'd keep it pretty simple. The top one is I can't stop thinking about it. So these are kind of favorites, favorites really is what I'm hoping to do here. And then I have loved it, which can be like 4 or 5 stars. It's just, I loved it. Then I liked it. And then I also have could have been better. And then I have DNF. So this is about my reading taste. I don't really tend to read or rate books 2 stars, 1 star, anything like that. I just tend to DNF those. So that's what I'm working with. This is gonna be so much fun. So let's just hop in because like I said, I have 62 books. So the first one you'll see is The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. I think I'm gonna put that one in liked it. I love Amor Towles' writing. I really enjoy how descriptive he is, how you really get into the characters' heads, but I don't particularly love the time and setting of the book weren't my absolute favorite. So it's more of an I liked it. I think I might have given it 4 stars because I do like Amor Towles. But here's The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. So this was the first Kate Morton I had ever read. I really did enjoy it. I think I'll put it in loved it because I really enjoyed it and it made me pick up a lot more Kate Morton. I'm not sure if I've read any more since then. We Were the Lucky Ones. This is by Georgia Hunter. Oh, this is such a good book, you guys. It's a World War II book about a family, a Jewish family, and how they kind of all go different directions and different things happen to them. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna put that one in loved it as well. And next is The Yellow Bird Sings. Oh, so this was the book that we read during Historathon. When I hosted Historathon with Amanda, I did not like it. I put it in could have been better. It had mostly to do with the child. So there's like a 5-year-old child in this story. Like the mom and the child are hiding out in this barn and the mom has to kind of keep the child quiet. And just the way the child was described just made me feel like the author just didn't have any kids because I was like, my 5-year-olds do not behave that way. I feel like that could have been better. Okay, Alice Hoffman, Magic Lessons. So this is the first book, or at least it's historically the first book. It's on like the founder of the Owens line and I really did enjoy this book. I feel like this actually was my favorite of the series so far, was the very first one. And so I'll put that there. And then The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue. I liked this because it was Spanish flu, about a nurse on a maternity ward of women who had Spanish flu. And I think it was set in Ireland and it was very interesting. I feel like it sits more here. It sits more with The Lincoln Highway. The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. I did not like this book. So I put this in could have been better. Okay, there was many things I did love about it. So it is a World War II book about this woman and her mom who have to escape the city, I think it was Paris, to the countryside to hide out, and the dad gets captured and the girl starts to be involved in the resistance, which all the resistance stuff I really liked. All the character work, especially the mom, I struggled. That was probably my biggest struggle last year, was this book. I feel like I expected it to be something different and it just really wasn't. Witch Haven. Oh, this is another book. So this is by Sasha Payton Smith. This is YA. This is probably why I wasn't quite sure about this. So this is a book that was set in kind of turn of the century, New York City. This girl was like accidentally did witchcraft and then she thought she was going to prison and instead there was this group of people who came and took her off to this school. So like school setting, I thought that was like perfect for me. But really there was some things that I just wasn't altogether impressed with. All right, so we have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Okay, I am a Kristen Hanna fan. I really do like her writing. I love how emotional it is. I love how she pulls me in. And this story in particular was about a family of I think he was a Vietnam vet, and he came back to his family angry and had PTSD, and he took them all to Alaska. What I loved about it is really being able to experience the Alaska wilderness and how they had to like build a house and survive and all these things, and it was so very challenging. Okay, so I loved that. I put that in, loved it. Luck of the Titanic. Okay, this I read somewhat recently. I liked it. I feel like, again, it was a YA when I just didn't realize it was YA, and I should have known that. And I think it would have changed my expectation of it. I felt like it had a lot of plot conveniences that it was hard for me to enjoy the book. So I'm gonna put it in could have been better. Oh, As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. That's a favorite of a favorite. So that's a can't stop thinking about it. I love this book. I love Susan Meisner's writing, but I also love the topic of the Spanish flu. I really enjoy it. I think I even made like a comparison video of The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue and As Bright as Heaven. So that was just so good. Okay, A Single Thread. I just picked this up. So this is by Tracy Chevalier. I had the toughest time with it, and I actually ended up DNFing it. I just recently talked about this in my last wrap up, so I'll put it up here if you want a little bit more details about that. But it's about this woman post World War I. There weren't very many men around, and so there were these surplus women who couldn't find husbands, and so she was lonely, and she joined this embroidery club at the cathedral, and I really liked that because it was like central like friendship themes, but some other things started happening and I just really wasn't into it. Okay, moving on. Life After Life by this Kate Atkinson, I think. I really liked this book. So this is a bit of a time bendy sort of book. It's about this woman named, I think, Ursula. Turn of the century, she was born, and then she went about her life, and then after she died, she was back at the beginning. Like, she got to start her life over again, and it really was a book kind of about that idea of like, well, what if she would have chosen this instead of this? How would her life have looked? Oh, The Lost Girls of Willowbrook by Ellen Marie Wiseman. This was the first Ellen Marie Wiseman I tried to read. I DNF'd it. It was really gritty, and I heard good things. I heard like the story was worth telling, but I feel like the way in which it started to be told, I didn't like the feeling of the main character. I didn't like her personality. And then knowing what I knew about the book, I didn't want to be in it. So I DNF'd that really before I hardly even started it. Homegoing. Oh, this was such a good book. I feel like it's another one that I really can't stop thinking about. This is by Yaa Gyasi. It starts in Africa with these two sisters, and one is taken into the slave trade and taken to the Americas, and another sister is married off to a white Englishman who is involved in the slave trade, but he's kind of set up in Africa, and it tells the story from there. And what I thought was really unique about this book is it tells it generationally. So you hear about those sisters, but then next chapter you hear about their kids and then those people's kids and on and on. And at first I thought I wouldn't really connect with all those characters, but I totally did. It was very good. So The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So this is a book that I feel like is historical fiction and based on this movie star who tells her life story via all her husbands. And it's a real fun glimpse onto like Hollywood and things like that. And it's by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I keep forgetting to say the name of the author. I loved it. It's a very entertaining book. It's really, really fun. Okay, The Other Bennett Sister. So this is by Janice Hadlow, I think. I read this last year and I loved it. Now, did I love it? Can't stop thinking about it. Loved it. I think it's more of here. I loved it. It was a story about Mary Bennett, kind of the overlooked sister, and it is historical fiction, but you still get a lot of the original story, the Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice story, and that really lasts about half the story, and then the second half is Mary finding herself. All right, and then I read this Susan Meisner. So this is A Bridge Across the Ocean. I did not like this book. I thought it could be better. I thought the premise was decent, but it just used a certain trope that I just didn't think was necessary and really kind of ruined the book for me. And I won't say what that is because it really doesn't get revealed until kind of near the end. And then The Giver of Stars. Oh, this is another excellent book. Yeah, I would put it up here. The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This is about the traveling library. It's about this group of women and just how their friendship is so strong, even against all the adversaries and all the things that they have to put up with. Okay, Secrets of a Charmed Life. So this is another Susan Meisner set, World War II, kind of around the bombings of London. So I found that really interesting. This is better, I feel like, than A Bridge Across the Ocean, but not nearly as good as As Bright as Heaven. Oh, I can't tell if it's a like it or love it. I might come back to that one. And then The Women of Chateau Lafayette. This is a good one. I think I'll put it here. So this is by Stephanie Dre. This is about a number of women in different generations that are a part of this chateau in France and kind of all the underlying history. You're talking French Revolution and things like that. Got a little bit slow at times, and then I didn't want to pick it up. That's the only reason I think I would put it here as opposed to up here. Yeah. Oh, I love this book. That's an easy one for me. 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I think this is such a fun book, and some people just hate it. I love it. I think it's so kind of confusing and fun, and it's about this woman, Evelyn, who dies, and the whole book is like reliving her death over and over again, like the day starts over, kind of like a Groundhog's Day sort of setting. All right, and then I have The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, and this is the third book in the Winter Night trilogy. I loved this book. I still think about it. It's so good. The whole series is so good. At least 2 of them are going to end up there. So that is about a girl named Vasya who has powers in like 1600 Russia, and it has a lot of Russian folklore and just fun things. Okay, and then Once Upon a River. This is by Diane Setterfield. It was good. It was just very slow. About a girl who they fished out of the river and they thought she was dead, but then she came back alive, and everybody thinks that she belongs to them or is trying to get her for some reason. All right. Oh, I read this one so long ago. The Help is very good. I loved it. It's about a group of African-American maids in the South and them just telling their story. And I mean, there's an amazing movie, so I don't feel like anybody needs me to tell you what that's about. But The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. I also loved that book. It is middle grade, so I'm excited to read it to my kids. It's about this girl who has some sort of deformity and her mom treats her terribly, but she is able to sneak onto the train and make it to the countryside and develop a more meaningful, sweet relationship with the woman who takes her in, her and her brother. Okay, and then These Shallow Graves. So this is kind of a historical thriller type book or a historical mystery. So this is by Jennifer Donnelly. I really enjoyed this book. I think I'll put it there. It's about this girl whose father dies unexpectedly, and they blame it on, I think, an accident or suicide, and she doesn't believe that's true. So she investigates. It's very good. And then, oh, A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I love this book. I just think it's the main character of the Count who is stuck in this hotel in Moscow for his life. He kind of has a life sentence. He can't leave the hotel. And the things that happen in the hotel are just, they're so good. Okay. All right. The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Now this got marketed as fantasy. I feel like there's very little fantasy in this book, to be honest. I feel like it's mostly historical fiction about this woman who is an apothecary owner in like olden day like London, and she deals in poisons, especially for women who want to get rid of their husbands. I enjoyed it. I liked it. There's 2 timelines to that one, and the modern day one I didn't like. I didn't like that timeline. That's why it's in the liked. Oh, A Nature of Fragile Things. This is another Susan Meisner. I really loved it. It is about the San Francisco earthquake. I thought that part was so fascinating. And I really did also enjoy kind of the story of the woman who was kind of a mail order bride that came out to San Francisco to help raise this child. But then she starts learning things about the man she married. A Poisonwood Bible. Oh, this is another one. Let's see. Should this go in Can't Stop Thinking About? No, it's more Loved It probably. It is a very good book. It's by Barbara King-Sulliver. It's an old book, and I feel like a lot of people have read it, and it's about this missionary family who goes into the Congo and brings his 4 daughters, and it's told kind of from their perspective. The Ninth Hour. So this is by Alice McDermott, I believe. I'll put it here. It was a really interesting book. So it's set, I believe it was in like New York City or Boston or something like that, turn of the century, when there was a bigger influence of the Catholic Church and nuns and things like that. And this woman whose husband commits suicide, but she's pregnant with their child and she has nowhere to go. So she joins kind of the convent, and not really joins it as much as like starts working for them. But this daughter then grows up in the convent, and it has some interesting plot twists to it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed just learning more about that time frame. All right, I also have The First 15 Lives of Harry August. This is probably more in the like fantastical than historical, but it's another time jumping book, and it has to do with like this man, Harry August, who at the beginning receives a note that he has to like save the world or something like that. So it was very interesting how that plays out. It wasn't my favorite. I felt like it dragged a bit. So I'm gonna put it in could have been better. Oh, this one, They Went Left by Monica Hesse. Oh boy, this is a really good one. So this is a YA book about a girl post-concentration camp where she's looking for her brother. She remembers being split up from her family and promising her brother that she would find him. And so she spends a whole book looking for him. It's a heartbreaking book. It's a very good one though. All right, oh, Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. I loved this book. It is a unique book because it's told from the perspective of this like murderess. Like the idea it's the last murderess in Iceland, and she's awaiting trial at this farm, and everybody was like scared of her until they get to know her a little bit more. And then you're spending the whole time wondering, did she really do what they said she did? Oh, it was so good. Okay. Lilac Girls. Oh, that's another loved it one. So this one I read last year, and it has like the point of view of like 3 women in World War II. But why it is I loved it, because I feel like it is unique in World War II historical fiction, because it takes the point of view of the inmates of the concentration camp, but also female doctor, a German female doctor. And I thought that was the most fascinating. And then there was an American socialite, and she's involved too. But the part that I found most fascinating was that German doctor. Okay, Once and Future Witches by, it was like Alex something. It's ridiculous. I literally just finished this book and I really liked it. And so I'm gonna put it here. It's about some sisters in New Salem during a time frame when like women are trying to get more rights and things like that. And there's also witchcraft involved. It was really good. I was telling somebody in my Discord group that it reminded me of, do you remember that TV show Charmed? It's like Charmed meets Where the Crawdads Sing. And it's really good. It's really fun. So, The Bear and the Nightingale, that is going up top. I love it. I'll put it by Winter of the Witch, because this is the first book in the Winter Night trilogy about Vassia. Okay, The Fire by Night, Teresa something. Sorry guys, I thought that I would be able to see the authors' names. It's been a while since I've read this one, but I still really remember it, and I remember really liking it. It's about World War II, but it's about these American nurses who decide they want to help out, and one gets sent to the Pacific, one gets sent to Europe, and they try to stay in touch and all the horrific things that happen to them. All right, Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. So this is the second one in time, and I liked it. It's kind of about the ants. It's about the ants in this story, if you know anything about practical magic. Okay, and then Isabel Allen's A Lawn Petal of the Sea. I DNF'd this. I'm not sure why. I think it was just the wrong time for reading it. It is about the Spanish Civil War. This woman and man get married in order to kind of escape, and they escape to Chile, but they always want to go back to Spain. Okay, Where the Lost Wander. I loved this book. Okay, I think I'm gonna put this one. Oh my gosh, I cannot decide. I think it's more down here, but I really enjoyed it. It's just about American frontier, like the wagon trains and the hard things that happen to those people that going out west. And it was really well told. I thought it was really good. It makes me definitely want to pick up more Amy Harmon. I haven't yet. All right, The Lost Girls of Paris by Pam Jenoff. I didn't love this book. It was a hard one. I feel like I loved parts of it. I loved the spy parts of it, but I didn't believe a lot of it because it was about this woman who is a single mom who decides to sign up to be a spy, and she leaves her daughter to do that. I didn't love that part, but the spy stuff was pretty interesting. So if you can get past that part, it might be a better book for you. And then All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is such an excellent book. I'm putting this up high. Can't stop thinking about it. It's about this little girl, this blind girl from Paris, and then this boy, this German boy who gets recruited to Hitler Youth. But it's really their main perspective is these two kids as the war progresses, and then their story collides. It's a beautiful book. Okay, and then The Book Thief. Oh, that's a really good one too. I'm gonna put that in loved it. It's by Marcus Zusak. It's about this girl who is taken to some German foster parents at the beginning of the war, and basically you kind of watch the war from just a normal everyday German citizen and how they do fight against it, but it has to be very subtle. And the way she chose to fight back was to steal back the books that are banned or the ones that are taken to be burned. I love the relationship between her and the stepfather. That was probably my favorite. Okay. Wow, we're getting there. It's a lot of books. It's a lot of books to talk about. Okay, next is Kristen Hanna. So this is The Nightingale. I love this book. This got me onto Booktube, really. This was the one I read 3 years ago, and I just loved it. It's a World War II book about two sisters. One sister is more serious and has a daughter, and the other is more rebellious and wants to help out. I just really resonated with the mom in this story. So, all right, A Place to Hang the Moon. And I can't tell the author. Sorry again. All right, and this is a middle grade book. It's a World War II middle grade book about kids being sent to the countryside, and it's so good. Oh, is it? I can't stop thinking about. No, it's probably loved it. My son loved it. I read it. It was just really, it's a very good book for that age group. Another Kristen Hanna, so The Four Winds. This has more to do with the Depression time frame and the Dust Bowl in the US. And I'll put it in liked it. And I put it in liked it because I enjoyed the story, but I wasn't as connected to the main character and some of the things going on. But again, Kristen Hanna didn't pull any punches. There was a lot of emotional scenes in here, a lot of things going on that I did really enjoy. Codename Helen by Ariel Lawhon. I loved this book. I really did. About this woman spy, and she even has like a code name, and she's one of the most successful spies, and the Germans are looking for her, and she's just tough. And then here's the second book in the Winter Night trilogies, The Girl in the Tower. So this one was probably my least favorite of the three, but it is still really good. I think I might have still given it 5 stars, but it's not totally in the can't stop thinking about it. All right, Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna put this one in I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a good book. It was also about the Spanish Civil War. It was the first book I read about the Spanish Civil War, but the characters I didn't connect with quite as much. So I learned a bunch, but I wasn't as amazed by it. The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I loved it. It was another really good one. It wasn't nearly as good in my head as 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, but it was still very enjoyable. It was about a kind of mystery on a boat. That was really what it has to do with this man who's been accused of a crime, and he is being taken back to like Amsterdam to serve trial, and then things happen en route. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I've actually never said her name before. I've read just the first one, and I really did enjoy it. I put it up here. It was fun to have that time frame of kind of like Scottish Highlands, just that fantastical element of her going back in time and getting sucked back there. I haven't gone on with the series. I'm curious about it. I feel like it gets a little heavy into some of the history, which I didn't quite understand, but I did enjoy it. Oh, The Other Einstein. Does it go up there? Does it go down here? I think I'll put it down here. It was a very enjoyable book about Einstein's first wife, and it just was really interesting. And she was also a scientist, and it was a question of really how much influence did she have on her husband. Did I already give her the stars? Yes. Okay, so I'll put that back down here. I don't need that one. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Oh, this is a good book. I feel like, yeah, it's probably there. It was just a very engrossing book about this girl who's kind of abandoned in the swamp by her family, and she learns how to survive, and things happen from there. Oh, I also have an extra Nightingale. We'll put that at the end too. All right, Pachenko. Oh, this book. I'm gonna put it in Could Have Been Better. It was one of those books that I had so much hype for and I thought I was just gonna love. And I loved the first part of it and then I just got really bored, is really how it is. And it's about this family. It's kind of a multi-generational saga about this girl in, I think, Korea, and then she gets taken to, I believe it's Japan, by her husband under certain circumstances. So, oh, The Children's Blizzard. I'm also putting that here. So Could Have Been Better. So this was by Melanie Benjamin, and this is about the crazy storm in North Dakota in like the 1800s where kids got stuck at schoolhouses because it came really fast and it was really scary and really deadly. And it told the story of two teachers in different schoolhouses and what they did to protect their kids. The part about the blizzard was amazing. The rest of it, just some very unlikable characters is why I'm putting it there. Okay, The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. I loved it. There's another traveling library one, but this one she is unique in that she has this genetic recessive disorder that she is blue, her skin is blue tinted, and that causes some prejudice against her, but it's a very good story. All right, The Familiars by Stacy Hall. I remember not loving it. It had to do with this woman, I believe, who struggled to get pregnant, and then she got a midwife who had promised her that she could help her with the baby, but there was some witchcraft involved, and I just can't quite remember. I just remember not liking it as much as I thought I would. So I'm gonna put it in Could Have Been Better. The last book. So The Light Between Oceans. Oh, this is good. I loved this book. It definitely has stuck with me. It's about this married couple on an island, and he is the lighthouse keeper, and they are struggling to get pregnant. And then one day a boat washes up on shore with a dead man and a baby, and the baby's alive. And then they have to make the hard decision, should they pretend and not tell anybody and pretend the baby is theirs? So it's very morally gray, but I just loved it. So that is my breakdown. Clearly, I'm a kind of a loved it sort of person, but I do have some books that I have just, they're favorites that have just stood out to me for the past 3 years. And then a lot of really good ones, a lot of ones I liked here too. And then it gets to kind of the ones I just didn't like, didn't care for as much. But there's not as many of those. I can usually tell what I'm gonna like when I pick up a historical fiction book. So let me know down below about these books. Did I put any in the DNF pile that you thought were just amazing, or some Could Have Been Betters that you just thought you loved, or vice versa? So just let me know what you think about all of these. And it was fun. It's fun tier ranking all my historical fiction. It was a lot of them. My throat is kind of sore because I've been talking about historical fiction books for so long, but it was fun. So let me know down below what you thought. And otherwise, guys, give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to the channel if you want to. And I will see you in the next book video. All right, take care. Bye.